Hey YouTube! All right, we're back. Back with the trunk, the wine cabinet trunk. We went ahead and took off all that old paper. I guess it's like wallpaper, but you know, whatever the lining was from 60, 70 years ago. That was a pain. You guys saw. Sanded it down, then we stained it with a nice color. Let it dry for actually several weeks. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the polyurethane. This is a clear gloss. I think the gloss is really going to kind of appear a lot nicer than if I did like a semi or a satin. I think it's going to pop. I mean, there's going to be a lot of reflections in there from the glasses, from the bottles. So hopefully the clear gloss will do well. So you guys will speed through it. I won't. So let the time lapse start now. All right, so there's our first coat on the inside. I don't know if you can see on the camera. I guess I can go back and look at the screen. Yeah, you guys could definitely see the color difference there. We have quite and obviously it's not dry, but you can see the reflection, whereas over here it's not. This looks a little worn, whereas this looks a little worn and aged. So I do like this outcome. I think that's going to look pretty slick, especially when we put the wine bottles in there. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put the coat on this side and go from there, but I like it. great about doing this kind of project, and this is the first time I've done anything really like it, but I've watched enough videos on YouTube to know that if you get a little splash here, you get a little finish or a little polyurethane in different spots, it's not gonna really do anything to the overall design. I mean, after all, I'm trying to make this look worn. It's already, thanks to its true age, it's already looking, like it's been used and somewhat beat up. So, getting a little splatter of the polyurethane somewhere, even the stain. I have some of the stain on some of these buckles. And I originally was going to go ahead, finish the buckles. I was going to put some Neverdol on there or some bronze back or something to get a little nicer, get that color back. And I thought, I don't think so. I think that's going to take away from the design of it. So I don't think I need to do anything to it to make it look newer. I think with the age on the outside, it looks old enough. So it's a nice, fun project because it's hard to ruin it, I guess. Not done yet though, so there may be something I can ruin. There's I don't know if you can tell on there, but there's a little bit of a bend right there, and I'm going to try to get out. That's actually hindering it from closing. So there's, if it closed just fine, I'd leave it in there, for that character. But I don't like the character of it not closing all the way. Again, I'm sure there's a much better way of doing this. Pound it out, make it a little straighter. But again, being that I want it to look worn, that little bend and crease actually plays into the overall design. I just need it to close a little bit. That's it for now. We'll come back. I might be wearing the same shirt because I need to do a couple different measurements. So I may be getting back to this to get the measurements for the slats and everything we're putting in there. So hope you guys enjoyed this portion of it. I'm looking forward to the end result, and I hope you guys are too. Hey, welcome back. As you can see, it is hot in the garage. I'm sweating. I'm definitely hydrating quite a bit. So what I'm doing now is I'm working on the shelving for the trunk. So one of the things that I got to do, and I don't have a table saw, so I get most of my cuts done at Home Depot. I think I got a couple photos, or at least one good photo of what I do. I go in, get the plywood, actually draw out my cuts on the plywood, and then I have them cut it. That way I can fit it in the car. I don't have to take the truck. So one of the cuts I got to do though is I got to have that corner piece. Get a 90 cut. Again, I don't have a table saw, so what I'm doing is using my skill saw and a square. There's actually a gap right here where you can actually take the and go along the edge. So what I'm doing is taking that and just basically drawing a nice straight line across. And then what I do is I take the skill saw and I go 45 with that. So then I flip it over, do the same thing, and it gives me actually a surprisingly good cut. So I've sanded that down a little bit. One side's a little bit in the other. But in the end, it looks good. The fit and finish on it is great. That way you're not having to square in a corner like that. So I got several more to do. I'll do those, and we'll slow the video down, and we'll tell you the next step. And there you have it. We got one that's going to be just fine. It'll work. So I'm going to get the rest of them. You guys don't need to watch me do that. So I'll get the rest of them going. We'll come back. We'll put everything and make sure it fits, and then we'll move on to... Hey, so we're back with the wine cabinet after careful measurements and careful cutting. We have come up with this so far. So It's a little different design. Instead of having it straight across, I kind of spread out the arms. That way I can nail and nail. If I had them straight across, I wouldn't be able to really get a good support on nailing. So that's why we did that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stain the wood. And I'm thinking, are we going to stain it that color? Or are we going to stain it a different color? I haven't really figured that out yet. So I'll mess around and see which color I want. But next thing. All right, so I'm back. So went ahead and stained. They're out there. I went ahead and just did the same color with a little bit of a thicker coat, so maybe it'll be just a little bit darker. Right now what I'm working on is I got the wine holders here, and the design of it is so that you can hang the wine bottle here, and I was originally going to have that little channel cut out there, but in the event that somebody pushes the chest or pushes it, I don't want it to lean forward and fall, so I'm doing is I'm cutting it at a 45. Took this actually, and you can actually see right there where it lines up. So they're all uniform. They're all going to be the same angle. I'm about to jigsaw that out, and we'll see if it works. All right. Hey, so I'm back. I finished cutting them. You can actually see what they look like now. Don't mind all the mess, everything that this is a garage. I have things that don't belong in here, like. Well, actually, aside from the weird food, this is a pretty normal garage. I have tools, toys, and cooking stuff. So, yeah, this is good. So, anyways, I got it done. Just got to stain it. But first, I wanted to show you kind of my idea. Here's the top of it. So, normally, my original idea was just to go straight in and have it hang. But since this thing is going to have... it's going to be somewhat movable. I have it that way. That way, if somebody tilts it forward, it's not going to go forward. You have to kind of go at an angle. Kind of gives it something different too. So that's what I'm working on. All right. And we're back. We're still working on the trunk. What I got done was I got everything stained. I got everything cut. Got everything measured. And now it's just a matter of putting these back in the trunk, make sure they fit, make sure they're in the right spot, and then after that I'll screw everything together and make sure that everything's nice and tight. I don't want to start screwing pieces in there because in the event that something doesn't fit. Huh? I'm building something. Of course. Why not? Maybe somebody else on YouTube will see it and 1 million people will share it and I can pay off the house. It only takes one video. So, you're going to watch me speed through it. So, these are the first ones we're going to screw on these sides right here. And since this is all brass and copper, let's scoot this back. That way you can see a little bit more. Alright. So since we got the brass here, went ahead and got some what's called cabinet screws, which are essentially, they look a little aged. It's got a little dip on it, so it matches that a little bit. The difference is, however, it's going to have a little bit portion in there. I can go in there with a little bit of copper melted down and fill it in. I won't, but you could, I guess. The reason I won't is I don't have the tools or the know-how, and I don't want to take a chance of ruining this. So, get my pilot holes, get them lined up. I put my screwdriver somewhere. Now, as far as the other boards, I did cut some 90 degrees, which means I can drill in that way. But as long as we got this board in, we don't really need to do that because everything's going to cross. It's going to flare out. So what I'm going to do is screw the boards going this way. I'm going to screw those into the frame board. So I got little legs to put right here. That way, whenever the wine cabinet is standing upright, it's actually, instead of standing straight up, it's leaning back. That way, we're filling the cork with the wine bottles. So our wine bottle is going to go cork first. And it was hard to find legs. I couldn't really find any legs, and if I went to an antique store to find antique-ish legs, they'd be about $20–30. So what these are, they probably look pretty familiar to you. These are handles, little knob handles for your kitchen, like your kitchen drawers to pull out. So they were wood. I stained them, same stain as the inside, and I think they'll be all right. I think they'll look fine. I was also trying to get metal too, but that was going to stain the floor, scratch the floor. Chest. It actually turned out really, really well. I haven't seen anybody do this. I'm sure somebody out there probably has. I just haven't seen it. I tried researching it. I really wanted to do something that I've never done, but I also wanted to kind of do something that maybe very few people have done before. So it really turned out really well. You guys have seen the video thus far, and so why wait? Here we go. Door opens, and it's obviously something most people wouldn't expect to see inside of a chest. So we have our wine, we have our glasses here, and again, this worked out really well. The angles that we cut everything, nothing's going to fall out. That leg over there that we put on the bottom of the door really worked out well too, because we can actually stop it at a couple different spots that we want. So I'll grab the camera and give you guys a tour. So we definitely got a nice finish on the wood. I got an LED light shining right at it that I could probably turn off, give you a little bit more realistic. There we go. So without the shine. That's probably my favorite part there. That thing is so cool. That sticker, there's one there. There's one here. And there's actually one on the very bottom that I couldn't save. Well, that I really couldn't take it off and put it anywhere else. So there is your wine chest.